Hi everyone, this is Maartje Nevejan, the director of Descending the Mountain, answering a few questions I got from the administration of your wonderful festival. First of all, thank you so much for being here virtually. Wish I could be there in person. And so I guess when you hear those answers to the questions you asked, you've seen the film, and I hope you liked it and it inspired you. So, to answer some of the questions, do I believe that psychedelics and meditations are good allies to expand the mind? Well, this is the whole thing of this study, that it proves yes, they do. Psychedelics help meditation and meditation help psychedelics. This is the wonderful thing. But it means that you have to do it in a ceremonial style. So you need sitters, therapists or sitters to help you to go through this process. You can either use psychedelics just for fun on a festival or just to, to be in a loving, kind, ecstatic atmosphere, to dance, for instance, to have this wonderful relationship between music and dance. But this is already happening. So what we are really interested in is how do these two things work on your mind? And that's not just your brain. It's how does it work? What does it tell us about consciousness? And what does it tell us about how the brain works with this whole feeling of self? And as this study, and in the meantime, multiple other studies as well, but this was the first who did this meditation psychedelic combination in a monastic setting. So in what is said also in the film, there are others, Roland Griffith being one of the most famous one, who are doing studies about psychedelics and meditation, but they do it in a clinical setting. And that's the difference what Vanya does. And he does it in his own monastery. And that was really 50 years ago. The last time that happened was at the Good Friday experiment, which wasn't such a success. It got Timothy Leary and the person later called Ramdas, they were fired because of it, because it wasn't done in a very subtle and controlled way, in a ceremonial way. It was done as a sort of a surprise. So this is actually the first study. That's very beautiful about it. The collaboration between Frans and Vanya is explained in the film, actually. When they asked me to do this film because they were looking for a director that could visualize internal experiences. And I did a film before about children who hallucinated because of epilepsy, seizures. And I worked together with artists and musicians to create these inner experiences because, of course, you cannot film them. And they liked that very much, so that's why they invited me. In the beginning, I wasn't such a big fan because I was not, I thought, okay, two white middle-aged men, not really a crowd teaser at the moment, considering the woke atmosphere also in the film industry at the moment. But then when I talked with them, and especially later at night when we had some wine, we began to joke, and I could see suddenly that they were friends. So because I first met Frans and then I met Vanya separately. And of course they both were very serious about the thing. But when I saw them at night in Zurich, and we had some wine and fun together, then suddenly I saw, okay, this is really the story about the friendship of these two characters. It reminded me of the book of Hermann Hesse. Why can't I have Siddhartha, but it's not Siddhartha, it's Narcissus and Goldmund. of Hermann Hesse, the two friends being actually two sides in ourselves, the serious meditation side and the more ecstatic Dionysus side. And I suddenly saw this difference between Frans and Vanya and how they were reacting on each other, and I really loved the friendship. So I thought that will be my movie. It's not about the study will be a scene, but it's mostly about two men who had an experience when they were 20 and now they are 70, 50 years later, and actually their whole life